No one saw him fall. No one heard the sound, because some people break in silence. Today I'm going to tell you a true story, a painful story, a story that could be yours or someone you love's. Stay, because this story doesn't begin with hope. It begins with exhaustion. He woke up every day before his alarm went off, not out of discipline, out of anxiety. He opened his eyes and he was already tired. Tired of thinking, tired of fulfilling obligations, tired of pretending everything was all right. He worked, he kept to a schedule. He smiled when necessary. From the outside, he seemed strong, responsible, an example. But inside, he felt empty. He didn't cry, he didn't shout, he didn't complain, because he learned something very early in life. Don't bother anyone. As a child, he understood that no one had time for his sadness, so he kept everything bottled up. The fear, the anger, the loneliness, and he grew up believing that being strong meant enduring it all. It was a silent pact he made with the world. He would carry his burdens alone so as not to be a burden to others. His days became a blur of routines. Wake up, T-Red, commute, work, smile at co-workers, nod in meetings, commute, home, eat something, anything, stare at a screen, go to bed. Repeat he was a ghost in his own life, moving through the motions without truly living. Friends would say, "You've got it all together," and he'd just offer a weak smile. What could he say? Actually, I feel like I'm disappearing. No, that would just make them uncomfortable. So he played the part, the reliable friend, the dedicated employee, the stable son. The mask was heavy, but taking it off felt impossible. He had forgotten what his own face looked like underneath. The emptiness wasn't a void, it was a presence, a cold, heavy thing that sat in his chest, making every breath feel like an effort. He was drowning, and the surface was just inches away, but he didn't have the strength to reach for it. He just kept sinking, silently. The problem is that what isn't expressed accumulates. First came the insomnia. His mind would race at night, replaying every mistake, every perceived failure, every unmet expectation. Then the headaches, a dull, constant throb behind his eyes. After that, the tightness in his chest, like a band squeezing him, making it hard to draw a full breath. His body was sending out distress signals, but he kept ignoring them, pushing through, telling himself it was just stress. Until one day, his body said enough. In the middle of a work meeting, his hands started to tremble uncontrollably. A cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He couldn't breathe, his heart raced, pounding against his ribs like a trapped bird. He thought he was dying. He excused himself, stumbled to the restroom, and splashed cold water on his face, his reflection a stranger's, pale and terrified. But no, it wasn't a heart attack. It was something worse for him. He was feeling everything at once. The fear, the exhaustion, the sadness, the anger he had suppressed for years, it all came flooding back in a tidal wave. They told him it was stress, a panic attack, that he should rest, that he shouldn't think so much. How do you stop thinking when you've spent years just surviving on thoughts alone? How do you rest when your own mind is a war zone? The advice felt hollow, like telling a drowning man to just swim. That night he came home. He walked past the kitchen, past the living room, and sat on the edge of his bed. The silence of the apartment was deafening, and for the first time in years, he cried without knowing why. It wasn't a single event that broke him. It wasn't sadness. It was the sheer weight of everything. It was emotional exhaustion. He had been strong for too long, and the dam had finally broken. The tears weren't for one thing, but for 1,000 little things. 1,000 moments of quiet endurance that had finally become too much to bear. There was a thought that frightened him. I don't want to die, but I don't want to go on like this either. That thought scared him more than anything, because it didn't come from a place of active despair or a desire for the end. It came from a profound, bone-deep weariness. It was the quiet whisper of a soul that had run out of energy to keep fighting. He realized something painful. He had lived his entire life to meet the expectations of others, not to listen to himself. He had been the strong one, the one who never fails, the one who can always handle it, the rock for everyone else. But who was the rock for the rock? No one ever asked him how he really was. Not really. They'd ask, "How are you?" And he'd say, "Fine." And that was the end of it. The script was set. And the worst part, he didn't ask himself either. He had treated his own well-being as an afterthought, a luxury he couldn't afford. That was his lowest point. There were no screams, no drama, no grand cinematic breakdown, only silence and a single internal question that echoed in the emptiness. When did I lose myself? He looked around his life, at the job, the apartment, the relationships he maintained, and felt like a stranger in a story someone else had written for him. He had been so focused on not letting anyone down that he had completely let himself down. The change didn't come like a movie. It wasn't magic. It wasn't fast. It was small. So small it was almost invisible. It began by saying no for the first time without feeling crippling guilt. It was a simple no to an extra project at work, a no to a social event he didn't have the energy for. Each no was a tiny act of rebellion against the persona he had built. It was accepting that asking for help isn't a weakness. He finally made a call to a therapist, his voice trembling as he admitted he wasn't okay. That call was one of the hardest things he ever did, and also the kindest. He started understanding that truly feeling anger, sadness, or joy doesn't make you fragile, it makes you human. He learned to listen to himself. When his body screamed for rest, he rested without making excuses. When tears came, he let them fall without shame, in the privacy of his own space, allowing himself the grace he had always given to others. He didn't heal overnight. There were good days and bad days. Days he felt a glimmer of hope, and days the old exhaustion crept back in. But he stopped demanding that he be invincible. He started seeing his vulnerability not as a flaw, but as a part of him. And that was his first true act of self. It wasn't about grand gestures, but about the quiet, consistent choice to treat himself with compassion. Perhaps this story resonated with you. Perhaps it made you uncomfortable. Perhaps you saw yourself reflected in it. If so, I want you to remember something. You are not broken. You are tired. You are not weak. You have been strong for too long. Resilience isn't about always enduring, about weathering every storm without flinching. Resilience is also about knowing when to stop, when to listen to yourself, when to take care of yourself. Your strength doesn't come from how much you can carry, but from your courage to admit when the weight is too heavy. It's okay to not be okay. If you're feeling this way, please know you are not alone and help is available. Talking to a friend, a family member, or a mental health professional can make all the difference. Your life is worth more than your productivity. Your peace is worth more than others' expectations. And if someone around you is smiling a little too much today, if they seem a little too perfect, ask them how they are, and then ask them again. Really listen. Sometimes, saving a life starts with a single, sincere question. Thank you for staying until the end. This channel exists to remind you that feeling is also courage. Take care of yourself.